Welcome back to my channel. Okay, let's get into this one right here. You gotta love it when these guys come into your comments on your channel and they call you a conspiracy theorist, right? I've been called all kind of names, and I'm starting to make all kind of videos now. I get up out of sports, and the NBA's get boring. It's a rig fixed league, and it's nothing but entertainment. It's not real. We've talked about that before. They've showed their hand. Just entertainment. Well, all sports are entertainment, but I'm telling you, it's not a real sports league. We expose that. So I'm not sure who's coming on my channel now calling me a conspiracy theorist, and it's lovely. I mean, I really don't know what a conspiracy theorist is. I think those people who they call conspiracy theorists are people who can actually use common sense, right? They can use their own thinking, their own brain. There are very intelligent people out here, right? That can, you know, read books, and take tests and get straight A's, go to these big colleges like Harvard, and become rocket scientists and all that stuff. But that don't mean you have common sense. It doesn't mean you have common sense just because somebody is telling you they wrote something down and they want you to remember it, and then they're going to test you on it. That doesn't make you have common sense, right? There's not too much common sense in the world, and they start you out early, taking your common sense away with a lot of things on this earth, right? And they program you what to believe, what not to believe, and if you don't believe this, you're a bad guy. You're not in line with the sheep, and don't try to get out of the line with the sheep because the sheepdog will come after you. So, I thought a conspiracy was, when you don't have any facts, you don't have any evidence about your case. But once you get any facts or any evidence, it's no longer a conspiracy, right? Okay. And, we're going to talk about this real good today because you don't know what I think or what I know. I don't believe nothing. What I think and know is what I think and know. A lot of people just believe stuff, right? In a belief system. And that's the major problem with them, right? And this guy called me, "Oh man, you're a conspiracy theorist, flat earther, and all this stuff." And I said, "Well, maybe the world is flat. I don't know. I'm not for sure. I've never been to space. I mean, only people that go to space is NASA, but they said they never left low Earth orbit many times. You can look this up on YouTube. You done heard presidents say this. You done heard NASA say this. They said they never left low Earth orbit. So another thing is, they said well, the ball is spinning, the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. Well, a lot of people say, well, it's just big, man. That's why you can't feel it. Okay, that's fine. This is what I'm going to say. Why hasn't NASA showed us when they went up to space that the world is spinning 1,000 miles an hour? Why can't they show us that? I've never seen that. All they show us is this picture of Earth, but I never see it spinning. No 1,000 miles an hour. I never see it spinning at all. Why, when they go to space, the rocket goes up, 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 and then at the end it comes right back down? If you watch the whole launching, look it up on the internet. If you watch the whole launching of NASA going to space, the rocket, I ain't talking about some piece that breaks off. That breaks off, soon after it's launched. I'm talking about when the whole thing is said and done, it comes right back down if you watch the whole thing. So I'm just telling you, I don't know all these things for a fact. I'm just saying there's some evidence in things that, I can explore rather than having some people tell me what the truth is, right? And who are these people? Well, they're your overseers. They're your overseers, right? The government. So a lot of people, we would say about in the United States, right? I don't want to put a real number on this and make it fact, but we can say that, let's just say 80%, right? 80% of people in the United States are probably Christians, right? So let's read the Bible. No matter if you go to the Old Testament, it says this in we're reading the New Testament right now. In we'll talk about some different versions, and they basically say the same thing. They just use another name, right? So let's go to Genesis, right? Off rip. We're going to Genesis, and we're going to read this. In the beginning, God created the heavens. God created the heaven and the earth. Okay. And the earth was without form, and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Right? So far, it's nothing but water. Water. And as you're going to see, they're talking about the universe or wherever the hell we are was nothing but water. So basically, a water world. That's all it was. It was a water world. There was nothing else. It was dark and it was water. That's it. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. Right? And God saw the light and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. In the evening, in the morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, in the midst. And let it divide the waters from the waters. Right? So God divided the waters from the waters. So far, we're talking about a water world. There was nothing there. God provided light. Boom. And then put a firmament and use a firmament to divide the waters. So now the waters are divided with the firmament. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the water which was above the firmament. And it was so. You don't need any. You don't need to go to NASA class for this, right? So the firmament is in the middle, dividing the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was. And God called the firmament heaven. Heaven. That will be earth. And it says you're in a firmament that's above your head. And what's above your head? Water that's on top of the firmament. And when light hits the firmament, it's hitting the water. Well, it's not exactly hitting the water, but the sun is hitting the firmament. And that's why you see the blue sky, dummies. When the sun hits the water in the ocean, what happens? The water isn't really blue, but the molecules in the ocean makes it look like it's blue from the sun hitting it. So when the sun hits the firmament, the water above looks blue. Let's go back. And God made the firmament. Oh, we already went to. And God called the firmament heaven. In the evening, in the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together onto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called it the sea. And God saw it was good. Yikes. So if you're not in line to what the Bible says in the beginning in Genesis, how the earth was made, it was a water world. There was nothing here but darkness, a water world. right? It's that simple. And God made light. That will be the sun. And divided the waters with the firmament, water above and water below. So if you ain't with that, it says it in the Old Testament. It says it. Somebody might use some other word like dome. I seen other Bibles. They use domes, and then other books use separation. It is what it is, man. So if you don't believe in this, you don't believe in none of that book. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. There's no conspiracy about that. And again, if you think these people go to space, just go punch up on the internet. It's not some deep fake. It's your own NASA and your own president saying many a times they never left low Earth orbit. And they hope to do it one day. That's what they said. And this is why this is a problem with the Bible, right? Somebody might read this in Genesis, but they just might take a little scripture um out of Genesis, right? The beginning. They might say, yeah, let's flip the Genesis such and such and such, and they'll just say, and they'll just read one of the passages and say, um, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was, and then he'll go talking about a whole bunch of stuff about you're the light, and gosh, put light on this earth, and you'll see the light, and he won't read nothing, no more of that entire part, that section. Yep. Let's go to Corinthians 4, verse 6. Read a little passage in there, give his little opinion and his little thoughts about what God wrote, what the apostles wrote, and all this stuff, and won't read. This is the problem. They won't read the whole book from the beginning because they want you to be so confused about this book and about life. And it's basically a what? It's a contest. It's a contest. Who can sound the best? Who you can relate to the best? Who can read the scriptures that you can relate to that makes you feel good about God and about the Bible? So they give you division in religion, right? Pentecostal, Baptist, Catholic, all Lutheran, all these different churches, right? It's a division within the religion because they want to sit there and act like what they're saying is right. I always said, why don't you just read the Bible from the beginning and read it from the beginning to the end, word by word by word? Nope, they won't never do that. They won't do it. Why? Because they don't want you knowing the meaning of the Bible, what it's really saying, how it was really wrote. That's basically it. And I see this right here. It says if the sun is 93 million miles away. Wow, it's pretty good. It's pretty far away. 93 million miles away. How is it possible that clouds are flying or orbiting? Why are clouds behind the sun and the moon? Give it to you one more time. If the sun and the moon is 90 million miles away, how is it possible that clouds are behind the sun and the moon? Don't worry, you can go out there and see it. How's it possible? I mean, people come up with the dumbest stuff they can come up with. They'll come up with the dumbest stuff. You can just imagine what they'll say instead of you going out there and seeing it for your own eyes. Man, you just seeing stuff. That's just, the light making an illusion. These are these delusional people on this earth. The people who oversee them lie to their faces every single day. They make up laws and they tell them the opposite of what the law is. Or They'll think they're doing a certain thing, but they're really not because they haven't read the law. Don't you know there's thousands and thousands and thousands of laws? Even lawyers, when they go to court and they got to do cases, they got to go back and read the laws because you cannot, you can't put that all in your head. Einstein couldn't put that all in his head. They got all these damn laws. If you ever had pulled over by a police officer, they'll be in their car forever typing up some little law that'll come out on the computer and give you a ticket if they don't really know what it is. They'll find something. There's codes, statutes, commercial laws, laws of the land. I just want to know. But 93 million miles away. So the sun gets that hot from that far away. Man, you was just thinking these people were going to space, they would disintegrate. They would disintegrate, right? If they went to space. I mean, 93 million miles away to make the Earth this hot. It's insane. To give the Earth this kind of light in the daytime. To grow plants. I just, and then you would think, when these guys went to space, the whole damn space will be lit up. And they will come up with any damn explanation about why space isn't lit up if the sun is in space, but it's 93 million miles away and bright enough to shine 93 million miles away and then light up the half of the damn Earth in one part of the day, right? You would think that thing would be lit up. You would be able to see everything. And the people, you see people too, they get so mad over this flat earth thing, right? I'm talking about like, they just, their hands like crumble up and they want to break and they get so aggressive. It's why are you so mad? You actually believe what these people, your overseers, are telling you. Yes, you do, because you don't have any common sense. You only believe, these are scientists. Scientists believe what they're told. Teachers, they read from a script. They go to school, whatever's in that textbook, they teach. That's not real history, what they teach in school. Doctors, we all know these people aren't doctors. They practice medicine. And how do they practice medicine? They read a book, which they was given, and that's what they got to go by. You know how many doctors have left that medical field and said it's bullshit? And we won't get too deep into it, but they're there to make money, right? They go to school and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to be some type of doctor. So they have to read off a script. And for them to make money, you basically have to be sick, right? All they're going to tell you is eat right, have a balanced diet, while your food is getting poisoned, right? At the supermarket. You turn over the label, the ingredients, it's got chemicals in it. All these ingredients that they got in there is not food. Food is one ingredient. An egg, a piece of chicken, a pork chop. Yes, you can add things to it, but are you putting, you can add another one food ingredient to another one food ingredient, no problem. But is it a food or is it a chemical that was made in a lab? Did it get bleached? Did they put oil in it? That's not safe. So your doctors aren't going to go out there and protest that they're poisoning your food. You're not going to go out there and say nothing about you don't want your food poisoned no more, right? When you vote, what are you voting for? Well, it's the same stuff, right? Every 4 years. A job. Well, you want to be a slave, right? You want better slave wage. You don't want your food not to be poisoned. You don't want your water not to be poisoned. You don't want your rent to be down. Or some people do. You're not talking about your food being GMO, sprayed with pesticides and chemicals and all these things and these chemicals in the food cause cancer. Don't worry, you got a doctor. Oh, goodness. So the dummy asked me, he said, "Oh, man, you probably think gravity ain't real." And I said, "Well, I don't know if it's real or not. I'm not a scientist. I didn't make up the word. I mean, what is gravity?" Say something like when you jump, it pulls you back down. The law of gravity. And I said, "Well, if we're on this spinning ball, what's keeping all this water from coming off the spinning ball if it's going to 8,000 miles an hour?" Man, that's gravity. Okay, that's cool. But can you explain to me if this same gravity is holding all this trillions of tons of water on the earth, oceans, ponds, lakes, rivers, is holding it's holding down all this water from coming off a damn spinning ball? One, how are airplanes lifting up in the sky with that kind of force of gravity that's containing and holding down all those trillions of tons of water, bodies of water on the earth? Two, how does a damn paper plane, whoosh, just throw it, how does that go up? How does a bird fly? How is a bird able to fly? How is a kite able to go in the air? How are you able to jump off the ground? Don't think dumb. That's what you're thinking right now. That's what you're thinking right now. You're thinking dumb. You're gonna say, "Well, I jumped and I came back." You're thinking dumb. Those are excuses. Listen, at a certain age, we tell our children, right? We say, "Hey, grow up. You gotta grow up. You're too old for that. Grow up." But adults, they never want to grow up. They never want to grow up. Remember the song from Toys R Us? I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. That's what adults are. They're big ass kids that don't think. And then when you try to get them to think, they get mad. They get restless. They ignore you. They want to change the subject because what their overseers told them, the word is bond. You can't get past that. These are the smart people. You got to think. These people behind closed doors are like, these people are idiots. This is what your overseers are telling you. Not to use common sense. And common sense will tell you, if they're telling you that gravity is holding all these trillions of tons of water on the earth, oceans, ponds, lakes, rivers, it's holding all that stuff down by that kind of gravitational force, you won't be able to even move on this earth. There's no way you could even walk. There's no way you could even walk. And on top of that, if it's holding down all that water, how the hell is that water moving? How's it moving? How's it flowing? And this is why they give you cartoons when you're little. This is why adults have Mickey Mouse in Disney World and Disneyland on their damn car, not just for their kids, but for themselves too. Yeah, I don't know if you want to call people dumb or they're just they're big ass kids, and they think because they can pass a test because they read a book and they can pass a test and remember this stuff, it makes them smart. It makes them intelligent. It makes them brilliant that they can pass a test that somebody else wrote um some history of the world. And history of the world could be anything. It could be science, it could be math, it could be anything. Because every day that passes by is history. So I don't know anything. I'm just I'm just telling you what makes sense. They can go ahead and put all these numbers together and say all this, but it makes no sense when you use common sense, what they're trying to tell you about some of this stuff. Man, why would they lie? They've always lied. You see what's going on in the world this year, last decade, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. I always lied. What's the difference? Things haven't got no better. When? If one thing gets better, something else gets worse. And that's the way they make it. So I'm no conspiracy theorist, just kind of using common sense. And like I said, a lot of people get mad about this stuff. It's almost like they're trying to hide something. Like, you're trying to tell me you go by their word for what? For what? It's a system they made up. A system they made up based on how they want you to feel, think, and be in life. I mean, I'm not going to go too deep in, to the government and stuff like that. But man, some places you don't get a chance to even think, right? You don't even get a chance to express yourself. There's countries where you can't even, you're not free at all. And the fact is, I mean, I know we don't live in a free country, but I'm just saying we live in a freer country than other people. But people sit here, and what do? They imprison their minds. That's what they do. So for me, it's cool. You can make up all the excuses you want to make up. That's you. And you can't tell me nothing. If you're not telling me something that they haven't told you, then you're really not telling me something that don't make sense to me. It's just what they told you. And are you telling me anything that has to do with common sense? Dealing with common sense? So again, I've never been in space. I don't know if the earth is flat. I don't know if it's round. I'm just trying to tell you some things that I've seen. In the same Bible that all these people read, in Genesis, the first book, in the beginning, it tells you certain things. So you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to say you got to believe in the Bible. I'm not saying that. Just saying other things about where we are, who we are, the earth. It doesn't make sense what they're saying. So, think what you want to think, man. I'm just trying to tell you, you're free to use your own mind. And like I said, if you see people get this mad over this subject, they're basically trying to hide something. They're basically trying to hide something. I don't know what they're trying to hide. If you're supposed to have, freedom to speak, freedom to think, why will people get that mad? Huh? Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out too. Because when somebody tells me something different, what I do, I go and investigate it. That's what I do. Because we've been lied to a lot. So I go investigate. I'm not going to believe everything somebody says because there's a lot of people out there lying about different things.